starting, just so I don't forget, thank you so, so much for coming this evening. I know you're taking your personal time for this, whether you're watching it now or the replay. So I just want to be really mindful of everyone's time. Maybe we'll finish a couple minutes early, depending on how things go. Feel free to keep your cameras on or off. Totally depends on you, whatever you feel comfortable with. And I'm going to have you mute up until the end. We're going to hold some questions until then. But I hope you guys are ready because we're going to be talking all about planning your year. So let's go ahead and get started. I want everyone who is on here tonight, most people on here are business owners. And I think that the common notion with every business that I've seen is that work-life balance, especially at the beginning, is something that is really impossible. It's something that you have to spend a lot of time in your business in order to make it grow. And so that's why I put at the bottom here, I was like, it's making the impossible possible, because this is truly a possibility for you, I promise. So even at the start of your business, creating work-life balance is absolutely something that you're able to do. And I want a notion that I have found is that a lot of us tend to try and fit our life into our business instead of fitting our business into our lives. And today we're going to be talking all about how to actually make your business fit into your life first, instead of doing something that is not always the first thought. Like, I know for me, a lot of times when I was first starting, I would always try and like fit my life around my business, and that is not necessary anymore. And also, hey everybody, thank you so much for joining. It's so good to see you guys. I'm just going to be like adding people as we go, and if you miss something, the replay will be coming out very, very soon. So the reason why I think that having a business is something very different and atypical, it's because most people don't actually create their business
How much is it?
at the beginning of their year. When they're thinking about a business, it seems like something that's really hard to do. And a lot of times, only 2% of the population ever start a business in their life. So it's a very like small population of us that actually go for it, actually start these businesses. And what happens is that amazing thing that we get started about with creates a lot of maybe confusion and things like that. And what happens is we tend to be really, really passionate. We want to get our business out to as many people as possible. And what happens is it's so easy for that business to become the focus of your life, instead of seeing a way to have a life in a business. And tonight we're going to be talking about having it all. The other thing is that most people who start businesses are extremely hardworking. The majority of business owners that I know typically started or are still side hustlers, ready to get their business starting up full time. And what happens is we think that putting more time into our business will actually make us successful. So of course, that's why your business starts to overflow into your life. And what I want you to know is that having a business is extremely different than most careers. In most careers, if you put more hours in, if you get more face time with maybe people who are higher up in your company, you will typically be rewarded with either a promotion, a raise, some sort of way to move throughout the company. However, when you are working in your business, time doesn't actually equal success. And I'm defining success here as helping people or more money. What actually creates the success in your business is strategic and systematic planning, making sure that you've got time for your business to grow and thinking about the longevity of your business, along with planning your life in too. So what I've seen is that some misconceptions to creating a business is that when you're trying to grow your business, there are so many different ways that you can grow your business. You can have a podcast, you can have an email list, you can have a website, you can have social media. There are so many different things that you can implement. And pretty much every business coach or every like article that you read or every training that you do, they'll all talk to you about pretty vastly different ways to build a business. And there's no right way to build a business. There's just the way that you choose to make right. The problem is, I see a lot of people finding a podcast. They're like, oh, I see that this mentor of mine, they have a podcast. So I'm going to start a podcast. And within the same week, oh, I heard this person has LinkedIn. So I should probably be getting on LinkedIn as well. And then I see this person blew up on a YouTube channel and I really want to get started on YouTube. And now my friend's telling me about TikTok or an email list. And all these things are different ways that I've seen people try and grow their business. And the problem with trying to add everything at once means that you're gonna probably be pretty overwhelmed, as you can imagine. Also, the other thing that I see a lot of people is people are seeking creating certainty for themselves. And so they're thinking that the only way that their business will succeed is if they add everything at once. And if they don't add everything at once, what happens is they're like, well, then my business will fail. Like if I don't get my email list up to 500 subscribers yesterday, then I surely my business actually won't do well. And that's not the case, but it's totally understandable as to why people would be seeking certainty and trying to grow by adding everything at once. The other thing that I've seen is that a lot of people will try and create a life plan and they'll have their life and then they'll have their business and they will try and keep the two segmented. So they'll maybe have a calendar for that's in the kitchen for all the life stuff that has going on. And then they'll have their business Google Calendar and they'll keep them separate. What happens though is you won't be able to see cycles if you keep things segmented. You won't be able to see natural cycles that will happen within your business, and you won't be able to plug your business into your life. So, what I would recommend is giving yourself time freedom, which means that you're going to give yourself time and space on your calendar to live your life. And then also using strategic placement of business time for the capacity to grow. So, my goal is that after this presentation, you'll have a very clear process and solution that gives you a big overhead way to see your business in life. And as you guys might know, I'm a pretty big fan of a spreadsheet. I love a good spreadsheet. I love having a worksheet and things like that to follow along. So I'll be adding that within this presentation. And I want you to be able to trust that within the cycles of your business and your life, that you can have both and you'll be able to see it pretty clearly so that you really can take time to build both. I also want you to save time by productively working on your business and time to be present in your life. This is actually a topic I have never taught ever before. So this is something that is completely new. And I want to make sure that you guys have this so that you can use this productivity time so that you can be present in your life as well. The other thing that I want you to do is by the end of this presentation, by 9 o'clock Eastern, you're going to actually know that you can have a strategy that involves your whole year and you won't have to become overwhelmed. You're not going to necessarily plan out everything tonight. Man, I wish that we could like just fast forward to like all the strategic planning for each business. You might have to take a smidgen of time for that for yourself, but I want you to know that it is possible by seeing what I've done. And I've got my examples of what I'm literally doing for my business and my life that you're going to see. So you can see how I've been able to build both. And again, coming away with just the understanding, I want everyone to have the thought that you can have both. It just has to be systematic and strategic. You have to be strategic about the way that you're building your business, and you have to work with your life instead of against it. Because at the beginning of my business, I was definitely working against my life and trying to fit my life into pieces of my business, and it just won't work that way. So, tonight, you're going to have a customized way that you can take the template that I will give you, and you're actually going to be able to turn off your work and live your life because you're going to be able to see that you can put this into place whenever you're ready. You're also going to see that balanced, holistic approach. I like to make sure that there are time and cycles for both. And so you're going to be able to see how that could work and apply to your life. And if you've got questions, save them to the end. We've got plenty of time. I can stay over a little if needed. And then you're also going to be able to manage your time intentionally without having to sacrifice. I know at the beginning of my business, I was doing things like taking work calls on vacations with my family. I actually moved an entire flight because two flights. One, I had to move when I was going to Jordan with my family because I had a consult and I was like, I can't miss this consult. And another one, I changed a flight to later and I wasn't able to like be in the mountains with my family. And I felt like I had to sacrifice a lot. And this year I realized that like, I don't want to live like that anymore. And I figured out how to not sacrifice my life. And I just want every single person on this call to feel like that is possible for you too. Now, last year, by the way, if we haven't met, a couple of you on this call, I actually have not met. So, hi, it's so nice to meet you. I'm Megan. I founded Six Figure Systems. If you guys don't already know, some of you might know that. And I was a former elementary school teacher, had no real background in the business world. And then I decided to start this coaching business. And within my first year full time last year, I actually was able to hit six figures. And that was so exciting. And I really do feel like I figured out a formula that is applicable to so many people. I'm going to be sharing a couple of stories of some amazing former and present clients tonight, so you guys can see what they're up to. But I truly believe that one of the most important things that systems has allowed me to do is to scale my business as I've scaled my life. And I have never lived more than I have within the past year. So much has happened that's been expected and unexpected, both positive and negative. And I want you to know that no matter what, if your passion is to grow this business of yours, if you feel like it is part of what you want to leave as your contribution on this planet, I want to make it as easy as possible for you to do so. So the first thing we're going to talk about is why most entrepreneurs overwork and lose their work-life balance. I've touched on a lot of things about that, like the reason why that's a kind of a symptom, but we're going to get into like the root cause of that problem. And we're going to talk about some fun stress cycles in a minute. And then I'm going to talk to you about how you can actually create those monthly cycles. And I'll give us a couple of minutes of application time so that you can actually figure out what would work best for your business, which should only take like 5-ish minutes. And then you'll also see mine as an example so that you can grow as well. The next thing I'll do is we'll be talking about the blueprint that I provide for people. So if you're kind of new to the business world and you're trying to figure out how to grow your business, I'll show you exactly what I did. And I'll show you exactly what to do for your business if that's what you're looking for as well. And then we'll get into a little bit of Q&A. And so like I shared, I'm going to be talking about some of my amazing clients. And this is Demetria. She founded the Curate Your Life program, and she's a life coach. And we started working together in September of last year. And she just left her job, I think 20 days ago. So she is fully out doing her business full time. And because of the work that we did, she did multiple virtual webinars. She held some in-person presentations and is getting featured on all these podcasts because she now knows how to scale her business. Also, like I mentioned for some people beforehand, I am solo for baby duty tonight. So I just saw Fitzgerald, the cat, in the background. There might be more furry friends in the background, and that's just like life. We're going to have work and life balance tonight. Okay. So speaking of the problem, I want you to know why overworking as a small business owner is the norm. And if you feel like you are overworking as a business owner, you might not be alone. And I want you to just guess how many hours you work per week. And you can scan this QR code. I had someone test it out earlier, so that's why there are some already votes. But if you click on the screen with a separate device, you'll be able to see how much you work a week. And what you do is you click your choice and then you hit submit. So if you want to just like fill that in, feel free to. I think a lot of us work 50 to 59 hours. When I was first starting my business, it was like last year, it was 60 plus for sure. Like I was working weekends, I was working after school. Thank you guys for sharing. This is so helpful. And I want you to know that if you are in the above 40 hours a week to work on your business, unfortunately, not only according to our little poll tonight, but studies also show that 82% of entrepreneurs work more than a 40-hour work week. And this was a study that was actually done in 2016. And I've actually linked all the study, like any study I do in any presentation, I link it to the bottom and I'll share that with you guys later. This was done in 2016. And apparently because of the pandemic, they haven't been able to get more recent data. But I think this is absolutely the norm. Only 14% work less than 40 hours and 4% work less than 30 hours in a week. That is a lot of hours to be worked. And if we're thinking, I think this goes especially for those of you, if you're just thinking about in your business, you might be working a certain amount of time. And if you're a side hustler and working an average of 40-hour weeks and having your business on top of it, it means that there's going to be a lot of time that you're going to be dedicating to both. Literally, like physically, there's just going to be lots of time. And that's going to take away from some of that work-life balance. So in comes the business stress cycle. And I had that picture taken. It's awkward, but it's great. So what happens is all of us, if you have a business on this call, it's because you're passionate about something. You have started this business because something has made a lovely impact on your life, or you found that your unique gifts, strengths, talents, whatever you want to call them, are best suited in a career that is not a traditional one, that you really want to give this contribution to the world. And it always starts out so fun. You're like, oh my gosh, I know about you guys, but at least in the first month of my business, I was like, I can really help people through coaching. And I was extremely passionate about my teaching job, but I loved coaching. It just felt so right to me. And so it started out as this really wonderful business, and it was a purpose-driven project is the way I like to kind of phrase it. But then what happened is things started to slow and stop. And literally for me, I went through having like a ton of consults at the beginning, fairly consistent consults. And then I had 7 months of no consults. And this was when I was still teaching full time. And I felt like I was troubleshot in the heart. I was like, instead of troubleshooting, I was troubleshot, boom. And I was like, something has gone terribly wrong. So in order to fix quote unquote things in my business, I tried everything. I started a podcast, Elevate Your Endgame. Feel free. We stopped that podcast, but I started one because I felt like it was a important thing to do. I did a one-off month group coaching program called March Mindset Madness. Who knows what that was? It was like a goal setting thing. I was like, let's try this. I did a Facebook group. I was trying everything. I started presenting for my university. I like my former university. I was like, anything I can do, I have to fix this business. And not only that, so some of those things worked, but then I got so overwhelmed and I felt like I had to keep it up. So it was like, okay, if a webinar seemed to work, I have to do a webinar every month. That means I need to make sure that I'm providing, that I'm making all this marketing. I'm making sure that I am presenting to like 15 different places, also having the podcast, making sure that I had all of these different things set up. And it was a mess. It was so difficult. So to-do lists started to pile. My business became really inconsistent and my dread started to build. Essentially, I would go into these phases where one of my friends says tornado to potato. So I would go like full tornado in my business and I would just be like, let's go. Okay, I can do this. I can do all the things. And then I'd be exhausted. And of course, stress from business started to lead into my personal life. And it would be like the topic of conversation at dinner. I don't know if you guys can relate to that. And on the weekend, I would be working. And sorry, I can't make dinner at grandma's house because I've got to go and do my work and I've got to work on my business. And it's the most important thing. And that was pretty much how I functioned literally until last year. And sometimes I'm still working on getting out of that business stress cycle. It's a work in progress always. But here's what I figured out as to how to stop this business stress cycle. The reason why I felt like I was overworking, like many of you guys might feel, is that I didn't necessarily have clear cut goals. And my goals would either be like for the whole year or it'd be day to day. And you guys know that I am a huge fan of like planning things. So a lot of times what happened is I would be really present focused. And for the beginning of my business, even last year, I saw this magic number and I was like $8,333.33. As many of you guys might know, that's the exact amount that you need to make every month in order to hit six figures. And I became obsessed with that number. I was like, I have to hit this number every month. But what I didn't understand until this year is that a business is very complex and there are multiple different parts that you have moving. And I didn't understand that just hitting one number 1 month wouldn't sustain me through months, maybe with consult overlaps or making sure that I was overselling so that I would be able to bring in more people when clients finished or completed their coaching journey. That is something that, like, when you're so focused in the present, or so focused on something that's like a vague, big goal, it takes you out of having that work-life balance. The other thing that is important is that I became dependent on my business last year. It was my only source of income. And immediately it led to a lot of scarcity mindset. I was very scared. And of course, it makes sense if we think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Basic needs are food, water, shelter. And I was like, oh, if this business does not work out, like I might not eat. Well, like obviously, like I could hopefully rely on some friends and family, but like it felt really scary and desperate. And so that's why I started to feel this need for the business to grow. And it was like, I just have to make this happen. And then the other thing was that when things were so urgent, when I was trying to put all these things together and I started the group and I started the webinars and I did the podcast and I had the mastermind, I wasn't sure what actually worked. It was very haphazard and it was very frantic. And it was like, okay, we're just gonna throw spaghetti at a wall and just like all of the things, and one of them would work, but I wouldn't know which one. I wouldn't know what actually worked in my business. It would just kind of be like, I'm trying a whole bunch of things. And so if that is you, I totally understand that. And one of the most important things that I learned is that past strategies won't work for these present problems. So for me, a lot of, and but myself included, I would look to other places for business owners that were way further along than I was. And I would try and mimic what they were doing and what I perceived that they were doing. I even thought about doing ads at the beginning because I saw other people doing ads. So I'm like, oh, okay, this must be the way. The other thing that I've seen is that people will just do what worked for them in past careers. Like for me, I worked 5 jobs at one point. Teaching was one of them, and I had like 5 jobs. So I was like, if I can just work enough, then this business will work. And that doesn't, you can't use past, you can sometimes, but most of the time, you need new strategies for present problems, especially if you've shifted in careers. So the reason these are like the things that I've seen in the past that have like a lot of people, myself included, have tried to, these are like the past strategies for the present problems. It was like the effort, it was like adding a bunch of different offers and accommodating as many people as I could. So that's why I had the group. And I would sometimes even do one-off sessions. I would do 10 months for some people, but I'd be like, you don't have to stay for the whole time. So you can just maybe stop after a couple months. And then the other thing was that overworking, sacrificing vacations, like I've mentioned, and also going and getting a lot of education. Like, and again, I think it's great. I think 9 coaches in 2021, like literally like 9 coaches and then like 3 different programs, which is awesome. I would fully recommend getting education, just maybe doing it in a more strategic manner, not only for your mind to comprehend and understand all the information so you can fully be absorbed into one thing, but also it can help your finances as well. Like, you want to make sure you're being strategic about your investments. So my recommendation is today on June 21st, 2023, pausing, taking a minute, and we're going to take today, it's like pretty much right in the middle of the year, and I want to teach you how to play to your strengths. Every single one of us is very unique and different, and I want you to think about what strengths you have and strategically focus on your business within cycles that also flow within your life. And this was Sarah, was Sarah, like she still quite exists. She was in my mastermind for the last round. And she actually, within that round, she fully moved to Mexico. She was living in Montreal for part of the time, fully moved to Mexico. She decided to stop contract coaching for one of the people that she was working for and go full time in her business, and became scuba certified, all because she knew how to strategically plan her business and she knew how to plan her life. And so she created an entire program with modules within her Google Classroom. She was also able to set up all the systems in the back end of her business. And she created a group, just like a Facebook group, and wanted to gather like-minded people to create some positive change in the industry. So it's not like this is just for me. That's the biggest thing I want you to take away from this. It's not just like I'm some special snowflake and I've created work-life balance and other people like that work with me, or just people in general, good luck. It's everyone that works with me because they know how to plan, they know how to be strategic about things. And the way that I want you to think of the solution, a lot of us think about having a business in sprints, going from 1 month to the next, making sure that you are staying on track and staying in progress. And I want you to think about having a business as a marathon. Maybe not like a never ending marathon, but something that you want to see the duration of the year. You want to be able to build up and build back. I did a marathon like way back in the day in 2020, but the way that I was pacing myself in the marathon was to make sure I could actually finish the race instead of like quitting halfway through. And that's the way I want you to think about your business as well. So I'm pretty sure all of you guys are on my email list. So if you're on your computer, go ahead and check out your email. You just hopefully got an email from me that might be coming a little bit later that says one-on-one coaching now. And if you scroll to the bottom of that email, there's a link that says plan your year. So if you click on that, you can see, like, if you would like to sign up for a consult later, awesome. There's the plan your year workshop. And then there's the editable Google document. So if you want to follow along, now's a great time. If you click on that, it'll help you force a copy. So you'll get a completely individualized email or Google document just for you. And you can edit this as we go. Those of you that are more a fan of pen and paper, you can also click on this and you will get a printable PDF that you can utilize later. And if anyone is on this call and is not getting my emails, y'all, you should totally join. But I am also going to put this in the group chat. So if you would like to follow along, now's a great time. If you're on your phone and are in the car, please don't do this. Do not like stop and like pull this up. You will get a copy. Everyone has a copy of it. And if for some reason you're not getting the emails that I send, sometimes they go to spam, I'll send it to you after this. So step 1, I want you to take a look at your business first. Even though we're planning your life into your business, it'll make sense in a moment. And step 1 is to do a business audit. These are the things that I want you to focus on throughout your business. Now, different business coaches might have different things to say, But these are the 6 categories that I find to be the most pivotal when you're thinking about scaling to your first 6 figures or multiple. The first one is marketing. Pretty self-explanatory. That's like whether you're on social media, doing networking events. And for each of these categories, I want you to think about where you are now and why. In 1 is the worst, 10 is the best. So it's like, where are you at? What would you rank each of these categories? And then where do you want to be 12 months from now, 1 year from now? Now, tonight, the only thing I want you to do, if you want to do anything or have the ability to do anything, is I just want you to rank the categories. You don't need to do anything other than rank the categories. But marketing, 1 to 10 being the worst, 10 being the best. You can think about, and I have over here, you do the why later. Do not do the why now, or else you could be here for as long as you want. And then I just want you to ponder and think about where you want to be in the categories a year from now. And once you rank all of them, I just want you to think about like the lowest category, which is the area of most growth for you. That's the one I want you to kind of like think about and focus on. And there's also sales. So sales for me would be bringing consultations in. The way that my business functions is you do a consult with me, we meet up for an hour, see if we're a good fit, and then decide whether you want to work with me. Consultation conversions could also be in here. So if you want to get a higher rate of conversion, that's great. Also, delivery and getting your clients results. Whether you feel like if people work with you or buy your product, if they are feeling awesome, if they need a little bit of work, you need to add maybe a little bit more attention to detail. That's what the 3rd category is. The 4th category is managing. The way I like to think about managing is how organized is the back end of your business. Now, you don't have to be like me and color code all these Google folders and have spreadsheets on spreadsheets. But if you feel like you've got some way, even if it's a filing cabinet that's like physical, some way to manage the back end of your business. The next piece is planning. I would say just because you're at this presentation, give yourself like a pat on the back, maybe even a plus 0.5 on that one. For 5. And presenting. So the reason why I have presenting on here is not many people, coaches especially, talk about this. Is I obviously was a teacher, so I love to teach and present, but I find it's a really great way to grow your business no matter what you're selling, because you can put yourself as a person who's an expert in a sea of people who actually want what you have to offer. So thinking about those, and then I did mine as an example. And so I felt like, okay, marketing was at like a 5, sales was at a 7, delivery 9, managing 8, planning 8, presenting 7. And so I said, currently I said I have a system that works for Instagram and Facebook. However, I want to expand my reach to multiple platforms. This was my goal previously. And then I crossed it out because your girl, if you don't know this already, I've been experiencing some technical difficulties in social media world, and I have not been able to post for an entire month. So I was like, posting is great. Love posting, but I'm actually going to focus on nurturing my current audience and growing my email list with a freebie. And the reason I gave you guys this one as an example is because this is a fluid document. Your numbers will probably change. Your plan will probably change. And that's why I actually go in and update mine monthly. So I go in every month, and I was like, Amber, I don't know if you remember the monthly checklist, but this is a part of it to make sure that I am evaluating and making sure my business is up to date and I'm planning appropriately. So when we've got another one, I want to know if you are ranking, if you feel comfortable to rank these categories, what is the biggest area of growth for your business this year? And you actually should probably, you don't need to probably do the QR code again, but just in case, I want to know what is the biggest area of growth for you this year, and you'll collect it. Yeah. You'll select it and then go on. Awesome. Seeing, wow, across the board, we've got like presenting, marketing, selling, planning and time management, managing and organizing for sure. So I think that like these are the pieces that like a lot of us want to focus on. And I'm glad that planning and time management, selling for sure, making sure you're getting that money high. All those things are really great things to focus on. Oh, don't know what happened here, but we're back. Can you guys see my screen, which is the Slido? Awesome. Excellent. Okay. So, oh, wow. So selling got even more. Excellent. So what we want to do is this part you will do at a later time. Don't need to do this right now, but this is where I want you to actually think about the way that your year is run. I don't know why it's all pixelated like that, but I want you to think about your personal life first. When you're planning your year, I actually break it down by month. And I have done, oh, we're going to go back to ours. Sorry, Vicky. I was like taking it back. So we have the plan your year. You're going to be able to see your year in like full. So this is the way that I want you to be thinking about your year. And I want you to think about the way that you put these goals and events on your calendar. And so within your personal life, that's where you can put some personal goals that you might have. Maybe run a marathon, buy a house. For me, doing some renovations. That is a huge piece of what we're doing this year. Thinking about investments you might be making, books reading over time, health and goals. Sometimes over here I put like education. So if I want to do some trainings or things like that, I still put that under personal development, even though it's a more of a business thing, but those are the kind of things that I want to do. And I'll show you guys again what that looks like for me in my calendar. The next thing that eventually, again, not in this call, but you'll have your miscellaneous and discovery. So that'll be like trips, hobbies, things that you want to do. That'll be on the miscellaneous discovery section. And then I like to think about relationships are kind of a mix. Sometimes I'll have some family friend trips, but I'll also add things with networking groups and things like that that are more work related. So what that looks like for me is in January for my discovery for myself, I am a part of this mastermind called the 200K Mastermind. Hey, Lauren, that's how we met. And we went to Cabo in January. So that was something that I had listed there. I also had a WSC, which is Women's Social Club event that I went to, and I put that in relationships. I had one of my amazing former clients, Carrie. She helped me clean out my closet. That's what she does. She's a personal stylist. So she cleaned out my whole closet and it was a adventure. I also went to Kentucky with my partner's family and we went for his niece's birthday to the Great Wolf Lodge. In May, we had to exchange a bunch of furniture out. So that was something that I was doing within the personal life. Thanks, Mom, for helping with that. And also went to Greece for 12 days. And then I went to Georgia. And in June, we're making a budgeting spreadsheet. I'm doing a couple of other networking events. Also have another trip planned in July. I'm going to the beach with my partner's family. I have another event and I'm going to Prince Edward Island with my Canadian family for a reunion. So I have all these different things planned throughout my year. And I find that a lot of times within our life, since this is the thing that typically gets cut the most, I want you to think about for you, what are the pieces that tend to slip? And so that might be like your personal relationships. This is the last poll, I promise. But I want you to think about what part of your life slips. Is it your relationships? Is it your personal life? I find that, yeah, like for me, my personal life is something that I often neglect because I feel very guilty a lot of the time. And I'm like, okay, I have to put time into my relationships, or maybe like miscellaneous and discovery. Like I would love to do guitar lessons with my partner, and that is getting pushed to November when we were supposed to do that in February. So it's natural for your life to slip. and that's okay. It's normal. But if you at least have it on your calendar, that's one way to help prevent it. So the last step is you want to strategically put your business on alternating cycles, on alternating months. You don't need to do everything all at once. And what I mentioned in my marketing, if you guys saw it, was that you can have both. I actually plan out my marketing for the times when I'm out of town. I don't do launches with my group program on times that I'm actually out of town. I make sure that I plan that out so far in advance that I actually am already starting to plan 2023 already. 2024. 2023 is this year. I'm already planning this year. Obviously, that's why you're here. But I'm planning out 2024 already because I can see where my business is going and I want to make sure that I am honoring time for all of it. So again, no need to do this right now, but this is something for you just to get an idea of later. And I promise you will get this presentation in an email or I will send it to you at a later point. But for me, one area where I really wanted to grow this year was doing presentations. And I also wanted to launch and sell a group project or a group program. Does feel like a group project, but it was a group program. So I knew that I just had this trip. This was like a 1-day event. It wasn't a big event. So I knew that I could definitely do, maybe you guys came to the annual planning webinar that I did in January 4th. I wanted to make sure that I did the annual planning webinar. It looks a little different than this one. It talks about quarterly goals. And I wanted to make sure I did that at the beginning of the year, because that's when a lot of people are setting goals and intentions for the new year. That makes sense. So you want to make sure you're doing things that make sense for the different times and periods throughout the year. This is really helpful for presentations and marketing, I found. The other thing is I need to do recertification. That's something that's going to happen every year. I'm going to need to recertify at the life coach school. So that's why I have it in italics, so I don't forget to delete that next year. The other thing is that even though I was going to Kentucky, I wanted to make sure that I was doing a pre-launch for my group. So you'll see that like for my group, I do a 3-day and 30-day, 3K and 30-day challenge. And that's the way I like to do a little pre-launch for my group. You'll be for sure seeing that in August. That's something that I like to do to make sure that I'm prepping people to make their money for the group before the group even begins. And you notice that I color coded it. So the red is that was my first group. The orange is for my second group. The yellow is for my third group. Now, if you're doing one-on-one coaching, you can just utilize this to plan out your marketing. It doesn't need to be color coded, but I'm actually launching my group 4 times next year. And I felt like I was losing my mind. I was like trying to figure out, okay, when does this group end? When does this group start? And so color coding made sense for my brain. And you don't need to do that for yours if you don't want. I actually made all of my marketing in January for February. So, and I'll put like time blocks. Sometimes I'll be like, okay, I think it'll take me 2 hours and 30 minutes to get all that done. And that's what I did. I also need to make all my marketing for launch. So I was launching in March. So in February, I spent 6 hours on a Sunday and I wrote 23 posts and I did 7 testimonials. And that was what I knew I would need to break out if I spent 25 minutes per post. And the testimonials were already done. I also do an interest webinar before the group. So I didn't want to have, typically most months I won't do a webinar back to back, but as you'll see in a minute, I did that this month, which is not a typical thing. Actually, no, I didn't. So again, I did the interest webinar. Then in April, I was planning on doing the Make Your Marketing Formula, but that kind of went into May because of some social media issues. And I had planned to do my social media marketing here. But then again, this is a fluid document. I change this every month. So it says kicked off social media, frowny face. So I had to move. I was actually planning on hiring a social media manager, and I had to move all the protocols and things and hiring to May. I had the Make Your Marketing 5-day marketing formula in April. You're at, fun fact, the Plan Your Year workshop. Welcome. I had this planned out to make sure that I wasn't just like in the middle of summer, I was like, I don't want to leave people hanging. I want to keep the people going. So that's why I did this in the middle of the year. And I'm also next week creating a freebie. So it's going to be a template, and I'm going to focus again on growing my email list. Like I mentioned, I had planned on just posting on a bunch of different platforms, and now I'm focusing on growing my email list. And I'm going to make my launch marketing in August because I'm out of town for all but like 7 days of July. So instead of like, I already have that planned. I already know that. I already am ready for that. And I'm going to make my marketing in July or in August for the rest of August and September. And I'm making the marketing for the rest of July and through, that should say August, next week. So, and then I'm doing the annual plan in December this year because I'm launching my 4th group in January. Lots of stuff here. But again, this is applicable at every level. Carrie and the majority of my clients are one-on-one coaches, or they one-on-one, they're selling a one-to-one product. And even with a one-to-one product, you can still create this level of work-life balance. And Carrie actually quit her full-time job in December, and she went full-time in her business, personal stylist. Totally recommend her. And she finalized her program and was able to start doing presentations for local boutiques. And thus far, she's signed a ton of clients since we've worked together, and just proof that you can do both. And that is it for like the annual this is like what you want to do for your planning. So that is a lot of information I threw at you, but I know that some of you guys might just be learning about me. And so I wanted to give you a little bit of information about what I do, if that's what you're interested in. And then we'll leave time for Q&A. I just want to make sure, again, mindful of your time, watching the clock. And I want to help you guys. If you're ready to spend a little bit less time and help more people, that's what I like to do within Six Figure Systems. So I found that my favorite programs that I'm a part of, they encompass 3 key components. They have the educational component. Obviously, you've got to learn things within the program, and you also apply things. So I love it when people like give me like worksheets, things to apply, templates, and able to actually implement it right away. And the last part is support, of course. So within my program, I have a ton of modules that I've recorded for Six Figure Systems, and you are going to get access to them immediately. It takes about 6 hours to go through the 6 essentials, and that's it over the course of 6 months, which isn't too bad. Totally able to do. And I'll give you recaps within our sessions. The other thing is you're going to be able to, just like I gave you this template, you're going to be able to apply that, and you're going to be able to figure it out exactly for your business. And not only that, but I will look over anything that you send me. So any template I give you, if you want me to look over your marketing calendar, if you want me to look over this, like your annual plan, if you want me to look over a webinar that you're doing, a presentation like this, I will make sure that during our calls, you'll get support with me, and then I'll also give you virtual support. And like I mentioned, it's over the course of 6 months. So my goal is that anyone who works with me, you will leave feeling like your business is simple, that you will know how to scale and be successful in whatever parameters you define success, and it will be so much more enjoyable. I want it to feel easy. I want it to feel like you know exactly what to do. And there's like a little QR code here. So just like you did with the Slido, if you want to even book a consult, you can do that right now. That's totally available to you if you want. And I ensure that I do a money back guarantee. So you can see over here, these are all the different pillars within my business. And I track your progress weekly. So I make sure that I put my money where my mouth is, and you will feel better at the planning, presenting, organizing, managing, marketing, selling, and delivering to your clients. I make sure that you will within the next 6 months, you will grow. Will you be at a 10 all the time? No. And that's also not the goal. Like you're not supposed to be at a 10, I think, ever in your business. You want to make sure that you're growing gradually, and that is what I make sure and guarantee that you will do. So what we'll do is typically within the first 2 months, which is convenient that I'm going to be out of town for a little bit, is you're just going to learn the 6 key essentials. You're going to learn those and implement them. And you're going to clean up your business so you'll know exactly what to do within the growth of your business in that first kind of like month or two. Then we're going to simplify the systems for you. So you're going to define what your core pillars are, you're going to have methods, and you're actually going to start launching. That's kind of what happens in the second and third kind of phase of the 6 months. And what happens is with my program, you're going to see stuff, you're going to love it, and you're going to like be like, I'm adopting this immediately. I'm going to like tonight, you might be like, yes, this calendar is my thing. I'm totally going to start doing this every month. And there are other things that you may be like, I like this, but instead of months, I want to do quarters. Maybe I want to take the document that Megan gave me and I want to adapt it and I want to make it pen and paper. I want to do something a little different. Totally fine. And after launching your high value offer, you're going to be able to see that. And there's also going to be things that you just abandon. You're like, okay, Megan, I think your consult thing is great, but I like to do consults in the way that works best for me. And you can totally abandon whatever I teach you as well, along with creating a vision for your business to grow. I'll also teach you how to do finances and a lot of stuff that like I had to learn the hard way to do on my own, like paying $26,000 in December and January about in my taxes. I'm not going to let you do that. I'm going to make sure you are set up and ready to roll. And Deb is another one, like one of my favorite humans. She did the one and done weight loss coaching, and she's in the process of leaving her contract coaching and was able to spend weeks in Hawaii with her family. And my goal is not only that you guys have thriving businesses, but you also have like thriving lives outside of it. And that is what I feel like I've just been able to see Deb do. And not only that, but she also signed 3 clients in 4 months and signed a new client at a price of $7,500 and is totally refined her program and is just feeling like it's like program in life going great. And that is my goal for all of you. And those of you that have worked with me know that like the last 2 categories I always ask you about every week will be, are you enjoying your life and are you feeling overall fulfilled? And those are things that are really important to me. And I want to make sure that I give you as well. So, like I mentioned, the 6 pillars, if you're like, I filled out the evaluation and I feel like I'm at a 1 for all these categories, what do you even put in those categories? Like, I don't even know what to put for planning. And you could put things like doing projection. So, these are the things that like I teach. If you don't know what doing financial projections looks like, I'll show you my spreadsheets. We can make some for you. Doing results for your clients, I would help you create a signature program. You might already have a program, but I want to make sure that people continue to work with you. They refer you to friends and give you really nice testimonials because like 89% of people need to see a testimonial before they buy. So helpful when you're giving results for your clients. I also, in general, or if you work with me, definitely making sure the back end of your business is streamlined, that you are ready with protocols and it's fun. And then making sure you're marketing. I want to make sure that even with social media, even though it is something that I haven't had for the past couple months, I want to make sure that you know what to do for social. So you know exactly how to make it like a well-oiled machine. It's just clockwork. You know exactly what to do, and it doesn't take you as much time as it usually does. You'll also know how to present like I'm doing now, and also learn how to sell to create consistent revenue. And I'm like, y'all, it's your time now. Let's like get to it. So if you are like, first off, I hope you just feel that every single one of you is super ready to just like kill it in your businesses. You guys you're here, you're spending a weeknight with me. Thank you. I'm so excited to see what you create and cheering you on every step of the way, regardless of whether you work with me or not. However, if you do want to work with me, I would be honored to just take an hour of your time, go through your business with you. We'll take those 6 categories and I'll talk about ways that I can help you to grow. It's completely complimentary, regardless of not whether you want to work with me, but I would still love to have you. And you can go ahead and book that now with that little consult. And Amber, I don't know if you're still on this call. I guess you are. So I want to mention that you are going to Europe. She is going to Asia, and also not so bad 10K in your first 4 months, and you signed all these new clients. And I said that you were preparing for your first group. I need to update that, but you killed it, lady. And I'm so, so proud of you. And literally all of my people, I'm just like so proud of you guys. So definitely go ahead and check out the Confident Eater program. I love Amber Social. It's amazing. And all of these other clients, if you have liked what I've said about them and you're like, wait, is this true? Is this actually happening? Feel free to reach out to them. They all know that like I sing their praises a lot. So feel free to. And before we get to questions, I just wanted to thank you all so much for being here. I don't know if I had your name on here, Amber, but I will add your name, and I will go ahead and spin the wheel of names for a quick coaching giveaway to make sure that you guys are all getting the free coaching. And if you want to, in the meantime, think about your questions. Ooh, awesome. I will send her that screenshot and spin it again. If you guys want to put your questions in the chat, I know we've got about 2-ish minutes, so making sure. And then Stephanie won. Amazing. But I just want to say thanks. Thank you guys so much for coming out. This is awesome. And I'm just so grateful for all of you. Oh, and Allison. Oh, so fun. She's gonna love it. Amazing. Okay, great stuff, everybody. Thank you so much again. I know it can feel weird to like ask questions on a call. So
I have a question, Megan.
Yes.
It's me, Amber. Hello. I'll say I worked with Megan in her last round of the mastermind. It was amazing. It got me like so set up with everything in my business. Like the systems are truly amazing. And definitely helped me be a lot more organized and like have an actual business with like systems and strategies. But I am a big traveler. It is like one of the things I love to do, and like why one of the main reasons I do what I do, like as a coach too, is like the flexibility of being able to do that. But something I struggle with is like when I have these longer periods of travel, like the anxiety of knowing that like my business is going to be okay.
Yes.
And just knowing how to, I think maybe I need to just like look at it from a different perspective. I like the idea of having like cycles in my business, because I think so often it's like, okay, every month you need 5 consults every single month. And like, that's not how my life works. Like maybe I'll have like 10 consults one month and then like none the other. So
Oh,
like
yeah.
knowing how to like balance that. And I guess it's just maybe planning to have periods of like lots of things and then no things.
Yeah. And so that's where I would say, especially for you, because I know that you're like spending some time away. One of the things that helps me to stay present even while I'm away is making sure that I've got the marketing done already. So like getting all that marketing done the month before, and then I just have it like and I think you know, but I'm not sure if other people know. I have another spreadsheet, and within the spreadsheet what I do is I will have the post already written and the Canva, which is like the graphic already made. The reels are batched the month prior just anyways, but especially when I'm traveling, I get all of that done. So it's like not on my mind at all. And then for consults, for pretty much all of July, I'm just pushing everybody to August. I'm like, all right, if you guys want to join, great. The other thing that I think is really important, and I'm actually going to do, if you're not a part of my Facebook group already, I'm going to do this training next week. And I like to do trainings and stuff. I'll record those beforehand too. I'll just like change my shirt or just keep the same shirt, like regardless of whether like how I'm feeling. But the other thing I'll do is if someone wants to sign up beforehand, let's say like I just had a client sign up on Friday, and I'm just giving her access to all of my modules. So there's a lot of intellectual property that you might not even realize you're probably already giving to your people that you just don't have in a set place. So I'm going to be teaching about how to use Google Classroom, which is free. That's what I use. But I'm just directing like any new clients that I sign. I'm like, great, let's like maybe get a first session in. If we're just doing a consult before I leave, I will tell you the first module to watch. So like when you like sign up, typically when people sign up, they pay first, and then I'll send them the login to the Google Classroom, and then they'll get access to all the videos. So like for this client, I am telling her, and like if you have a group or something like that, I teach you like for my mastermind and things like that, I have different classrooms for each. But like I mentioned before, like these are the different things. So I'll like be like, okay, if the biggest area for growth for you is doing a webinar, here's this information about webinars. And you can use the trainings, because I know you have a Google Class or a Facebook group. Take those Facebook group trainings, just download it to YouTube, and you can throw them in a Google Classroom. No, I think great for anybody. And you can sign people on before Asia, or you could just tell them it's coming.
Yeah, because I think I haven't even like thought that far ahead, because that's like in December, but like I do need to think that far ahead, because I'm like, you
Yeah.
know, that's what's gonna get me stressed out is like with Europe. I'm like, I'm leaving in a week and a half now. I got to figure out July. I'm like, I don't think this is how it's supposed to be done. I got to do it a little bit more in advance. So I think I need to like sit down and like look like I'm still doing my clients in Europe, and I'm still gonna do clients in Asia. I haven't decided if I'm gonna do like consults and stuff yet, or exactly how it will look. But I think I just need to like sit down and be like, okay, I have what, like August, September, October, November. Like those are like my 4 big business months, like what I want to do during that time to prepare me for those other months.
Absolutely. And oh my gosh, this is like makes me so excited, because like I feel like you're truly living the digital nomad life. And I'm like, oh, living vicariously through you. But that's what I would do, is I would just like get that ready. And like as you're going now, just be thinking about like core components. And like again, I typically tell people to sell one offer. That's like what my recommendation would be. However, if you wanted to, you could, if you wanted to, if you just give people access to the Google Classroom that you create, this technically is a course. And
Mm-hmm.
even sell it as a course with like maybe virtual support, no support, like that could be another way that you can protect your profit, which means like just making sure you have like a baseline amount of revenue set. Or you could be like, okay, I want to make sure that I sign and get in. I think your program's 3 months or 4 months.
6.
6. Okay. So within that, making sure that you've got people like, it's like, okay, if I know that I'll be out of town in just December, I would like to sign like X amount of clients to make sure that that's going to fit the budget for your own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm so excited for you though. And like that's the beauty of having a business. This is supposed to give us the flexibility. And that's one of the things that like I want to give to my clients as well. And I had somebody ask me, I think it was yesterday, is like, how do people feel if they're one of your clients about you going out and traveling as much as you do? And I feel like the majority of my clients, they see me, and I hope to be like an example of what's possible. And I think that can be a great optimistic sign for you and your people too, and being like, hey, this is a great thing. I want to promote continuing to do, continuing to have like freedom of eating, even while you're in Europe, while you're traveling. And so you can continue to like utilize the like holidays and travel, and be like, this is also like a great selling point. Like I was telling someone in my a group I'm in that like I'm selling work-life balance in like the summer months, and then I'm going to be talking about how to make more time in the fall.
Mm,
And so just kind of like knowing that seasons will be a big thing for you too.
for sure. Thank you, Megan.
Oh my gosh, of course. Thanks, Amber. And thank you so much. If anyone else has any questions, feel free to jump in. Otherwise, I think everybody has my email. So if you do not have my email, it's, oh my gosh, of course. I'm just looking. Yes, it can be so overwhelming. Oh, to think about all the areas. Okay, so just really quick, Lauren said it can be overwhelming thinking about where my business needs growth. Wow, I'm stuttering. Where do you recommend doing that? So what I recommend, and I think I like kind of glazed over this, but just to reiterate, within my business, I took a look at that. I'm like, where is it? I took a look and I started with the area of most growth. So for me, it was my marketing. It was actually up a lot higher. And then with all the technical difficulties I've been having, I bumped it a little bit lower. And so I'll start there. And that's where I'll start to fill in things within my plan. So I'll be like, okay, if I'm feeling like my marketing is really struggling, that's where I'll put the majority of my time within the like little spaces that I have. And then within um like for me, I also would like to um for the managing piece of my business, like I'm also adding in media like sponsorships and spokesmanship work. And so that's another thing that I wanted to add to this year that I thought was pretty important. Presenting. I also have a goal to make sure that when I'm presenting, I can actually do more presentations this year. So I am building in this time with the networking groups so I can actually do the presentations as well. So I, again, going with the areas of most need, we'll just say like areas of most growth, and then moving on from there. But really, really great questions. Thank you guys so much for coming. This was so much fun. I love seeing all of you here. Like kind of unexpected to see this whole crew. So very, very thankful for all of you. And I will be seeing you guys later. Bye, everybody.